33 vertebrae. I'm back. Now we are continuing with the magnetic fields
of integrity. So I have a quote from William Shakespeare: "To thine own self be true, and it must follow, as the night the day. Thou canst not then be false to any man." So in this chapter, we're looking at invisible fields of energy that surround and permeate the human body. Like I've just demonstrated this on here. You can see the fields. There's a field here at the heart. Then we also have it running all over the body. So these fields are always running all around us and they interact with us. And it's the field that they interact with, the magnetic fields around that we use to send information. Think of it like the network, like the internet network or radio signals network. They all run in the magnetic fields. Yeah. So uh, invisible fields of energy that surround and permeate the human body. The personal magnetic field that governs our health, vitality, and inner balance. That's why it's super, super important because it's run from the heart. That's why the heart is very important. You now think of the heart as the engine of this whole magnetic field of the body, the electromagnetic field. So we saw how this field connects with us to everything around us, forming part of a grand energetic web that stretches across all life. That's why I always emphasize that you are not independent. Nothing is independent. Everything is you. Everything is connected. Yeah, there's always a network. Whatever you do here affects everything else. Yeah, nothing is independent on its own. Now we must go even deeper. If the human magnetic field is the interface between our being and the world, then integrity is the frequency that determines its strength, clarity, and resilience. So, there's this physical body, the being that we live in, and then the rest of the world that we're now connected to. So we're saying that integrity is the frequency that will allow everything else to work according that you want. Yeah. So yet in today's world, this integrity is under siege. So many of us believe that if you are someone of integrity, then you lose. That's why most, even in our, if you just look at even our leadership and stuff, many are not in integrity. They're always calling people around. In Nairobi, we call it wash wash and stuff. Yeah. Nairobi always say that kwa mtu mzuri ni hatia. Yeah. Yeah. So there is a silent chaos that hums beneath the surface of our lives. Not just the moral breakdown that makes headlines, but the more subtle ways we betray our own energy. We move through days tangled in contradictions, chasing what we do not believe in, speaking words that don't align with our hearts, and consuming influences that erode our inner coherence. Yeah, we're just doing things because it looks cool. Yeah, because everybody's doing it, or the top guys, the influencers are doing it. So we also do it thinking that will also be cool. But we are breaking our own magnetic fields. That's why we don't see our manifestations because we are breaking our magnetic fields. Let's go on. So, despite what is right, we often fail to do it, not because we are evil, but because we are misaligned. So, you see, always when I do the alignments, when I'm going through the chakras and I'm connecting you to the sun or to the moon and to the earth star and all the seven chakras of the body, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to bring this magnetic field into coherence, into alignment. Because most of the times the actions that we take interferes with the magnetic field and the alignment of these fields and our bodies. And if this field is not aligned, then we are not likely to get our manifestations. Yeah. So that's why it's always super important when I'm doing the alignments. Please always do it or do it with me. Have some headphones or earphones so that I can align your field back to its normal way and you can able to get your manifestations. Yeah. So what if integrity isn't just a moral concept? or a philosophical idea, but a magnetic field of its own. What if, like every emotion, sound, or substance, it had its own measurable vibration and resonance? This is not a metaphor. Everything in existence emits a magnetic signature. The same way I've told you that your human body is emitting a magnetic signature, usually it's from the heart. So that is the aura that you have as a being as you walk around. That is the signature that you are vibrating at. That's why I always emphasize on raising your vibration and raising your frequency is about having a high frequency that is able to react to the magnetic fields and see your manifestations come to pass. Yeah. So it's all about having a great influence. Like now the auras I was talking about, we always have different kind of auras. Blue aura, yellow aura. So it's always your frequency. I myself, most of the time, I'm vibrating with the blue aura. So that is the frequency I'm vibrating at. That is the magnetic field, the magnetic and the influence I'm having and setting into the fields and into the world. Now, let us consider a familiar metaphor: television and radio broadcasts. Every signal sent into the air must maintain its integrity, or else it interferes with others. The atmosphere, though seemingly empty, is crowded with waves and messages. There are a lot of things going on in the air here right now that you don't see. That's what happens in the magnetic fields. Right now, I'm transmitting this thing through the internet. Yeah, you're getting it, receiving through the internet. Those are signals being sent. Yeah? The atmosphere, though seemingly empty, is crowded by waves and messages. Only through precise frequency management can they coexist. The same applies to our personal magnetic field. When we live without integrity, when our thoughts contradict our speech, or when our actions betray our values, we create interference. Our field weakens, leaving us vulnerable to confusion, illness, and emotional imbalance. You know, most of the things that we see happening in the physical is because has a lot of influence from the subtle frequencies. Yeah, the, the diseases we suffer diseases because this field is misaligned. Let's say you are in hate, you hate someone so much. Yeah, so the moment you bring that emotion of hate, it brings a disalignment, a misalignment in this field. Yeah, so you're now vibrating at another frequency, a very low frequency. And in that low frequency, you now attract things that are also in that frequency. So, in the physical sense, they get manifested in terms of diseases. Most hateful people are always sick. You always see them, they're sick every time. Yeah? So, this is something you'll always look at. So, that's why this field must always be aligned. Let's continue. Just as polluted air affects the lungs, a polluted magnetic field affects the soul. So, when we talk about magnetic fields, mostly we're dealing with the soul level, the more subtle parts of our body. And you know, the physical life we are experiencing is directly affected from the subtle spaces, from the soul level. Yeah. So when you're dealing with magnetic fields, we are dealing with our soul. We are dealing with the mind. We are dealing with the emotion. Those more subtle frequencies. Yeah. And then they'll get manifested in this physical realm. So today, the global energy field is overwhelmed by toxicity. Mass media floods our homes with distorted signals, advertisements rooted in fear and inadequacy, political rhetoric soaked in division, and content that glorifies violence and superficiality. These emissions influence everyone who is in tune. What begins at subtle dissonance becomes over time a collective spiritual illness. It's a kind of magnetic sickness that doesn't just harm individuals, it erodes communities and weakens the coherence of society itself. You know, technology is an awesome thing, but now the problem is those who own the technology are using it to influence and control the rest of the public. or the rest of the consumers of this technology. And how are they using it? They are using it to distort the frequencies and bring imbalance into the beings who are using the technology. Think of it even, and it's reflected in our lives. It's reflected in our lives. Look at the kind of lives we live. People are so much in division. If I'm talking about Kenya, people are so caught up in tribal lines. Yeah, they always think of being tribal is not a bad thing. It's a good thing to like your roots and embrace it. But it's now a problem when it comes now to be you versus them. You know, the moment you say I am this, the other person will say I am that, and obviously there's gonna be conflict because everybody will want to create boundary and protect their own. Yeah. So, and this has been amplified by the use of technology, where they send toxicity into the magnetic fields. And the same toxicity they send will also disrupt the signals and will create confusion. You know, someone once said that the moment man will discover how to fly, there's gonna be a lot of chaos and division in the world. And it's what we are seeing here right now. You know, when airplanes are flying in the air, the kind of disturbance they bring to the magnetic field because of the kind of crude technology they are. You know, as you know, when you see planes, we always think they are very awesome technology. But little do we know the kind of influence the planes are having in the magnetic fields. They bring chaos. They send a lot of chaos into the field, and the same chaos is reflected in the kind of humans. You always see that even when just a plane is flying over, there's gonna be a lot of noise and disturbance, and you just feel like, yeah. Obviously, that is what is being done, and it's even worse in the subtle spaces. Yeah, because of the kind of crude technology we are using and we're having. We think it's awesome, but it's very crude technology. That's why the next kind of technology you should be having in terms of transportation system should be looking at the magnetic fields. How are they interacting with the magnetic fields? You see how birds fly. Birds don't make noise. They'll just you'll never you'll most of the time you won't even hear them. Yeah, because they are flying in coherent with the magnetic fields. Yeah, and they use magnetic fields to to transit and understand. Look at bats. Yeah, bats don't use their eyes to see. They send signals. They send waves into the field, and those waves is what guides them as they fly. Yeah, because they're incoherent to the magnetic fields. So that's the kind of technology we should be looking at. Creating technology that is coherent with magnetic fields. Yeah, so that we can stop the chaos that is going on around the world. Yeah, too much noise is always disruption. Yeah, and interfering with the magnetic fields. Also, check about the politicians or even just as humans, the kind of words that we use. Do our words build or our words destroy? Yeah, because the words you use, those are also signals. They are waves that we're sending into the magnetic fields. I told you, sound is power. That's the throat chakra. Whatever you are using from our words, the words we are using, the sound we are using, we are sending them into the fields. So the stories we're sending into the fields, the sounds we're sending, the words we are using sending into the fields, interacts and disrupts the fields depending on their state. Let's go on. The magnetic dissonance does not arise from external forces alone. It emerges when we fail to live from the heart. Every lie we tell, every truth we suppress, every act of selfishness or greed, we feed the global imbalance. You know, I was showing you here that everything is run from the heart. The heart is the subtle engine of the human body. So when you're doing things from the heart, you're sending awesome signals into the fields. I always say be at the heart when I'm doing the alignments. I always say be at the heart. And I want you to be in love because I also do this out of love for humanity. That's why I'm doing 33V. It's because I'm doing it for my heart, out of love for humanity. So when you're sending things from the heart, you're using an awesome frequency and you're bringing harmony in the fields. So long as you've disrupted the heart signal, you are disrupting everything. There's going to be imbalance. And once there is imbalance in the system, you are attracting everything else that will disrupt everything. That's why you will start attracting diseases, you will attract everything that is not in harmony. So every time you're in harmony, you're operating out of love, you're operating from the heart, you're bringing awesome signals into the fields and you'll be able to manifest awesomely. The same signals you're sending into the magnetic field is the same signal you'll get back. The same signal you'll attract. And you'll be attracting any other thing in the same frequency. That's why I always emphasize be at the heart. Yeah. Do things out of love. I always emphasize softness in heart. A very powerful technology. A very powerful technology manifesting. Let's go on. So ancient wisdom. Where was I? Where was I? Yeah, okay. Our personal integrity is not just about private ethics, it's about how we broadcast ourselves into the energetic field we all share. I told you nothing is independent, we are all connected. Yeah, at the subtle level, we are connected through the magnetic fields. Uh, when you're always doing telepathic communication, communicating through the pineal gland telepathically, we are sending the signals through the magnetic fields. It's the magnetic field that is the network of everything. Yeah. So anytime you are out of balance, you are out of connection. Think of it like losing internet connection or losing communication or any mobile connection that you always have or a signal of the television. Yeah. So once you are out of balance, you are disrupting the field and you are interfering with your manifestations. Yeah. So we've said it's all about what we broadcast ourselves into the magnetic field, energetic field we all share. And just as pollution spreads invisibly, so does healing. I told you it's the same frequency, same network that we're sending all these. If you say something out of hate, you're spreading the hate into the fields. And you know the connection is everywhere. So it will either get amplified or it will also connect with other people and the same hate will be sent to other people. So some other person may even amplify it and the signals just goes on and there's gonna be disruption all over the place. That's why you can see the world is there's a lot of violence, there's a lot of fights, there's a lot of hatred because of the kind of frequencies, the kind of things that we're sending into the magnetic fields. If we can all agree as humans one day, we just sit down at a certain time and we all send love at the same time, you know what will happen in this reality? A lot can change. We don't need to take years to do this. Just about let us all agree on one day. We sit at a certain time, everybody in the world, and we all just send love. Just imagine what will happen. Art is one example. A song created with pure intention can uplift thousands. Yeah, like I was listening to another song yesterday. It's still ringing in my heart, warming. It warmed my heart, and I went on listening to it for hours. And Makiu, the song was like the singer had only 5,000 subscribers on YouTube, and the song has been there for over 3 years. Imagine, but it has a love frequency. It's a melody that if you listen to, you'll want it to be having billions of views by today. But look at the songs with billions of views on YouTube today. What kind of of information are they sending into the fields? Yeah, you'll be really surprised. Yeah, there's a lot of hate, a lot of violence, a lot of toxicity. yeah, nudity, yeah, profanity, yeah. Those are the kind of things that sell because that is what most of the people are tuned into. Yeah, let's go on. So a song created with pure intention can uplift thousands. A painting made in truth can anchor peace in a room. But when art is manufactured solely from for profit or manipulation, its magnetic resonance shifts. It can weaken those who engage with it, especially the young, whose energetic fields are still forming and are most susceptible to influence. You know, when you're creating art, art is about transmuting energy. We are transferring energy from a certain state to another state. We're transmuting energy from the subtle, from the minds, into the physical realm. That's creation. Yeah. So whatever energy we are putting into the art will be broadcasted to anyone who interacts with it. Even if it's a painting, when that person was creating the painting, that person was tuned to a certain frequency, to a certain vibration. Then when they transmute whatever they have in the imagination into this art, so whoever will see this image will feel the energy that was transmuted. So if the painter was creating this art out of hate, it's the hate energy that is filled on that art. So everyone who will look at that painting will feel the hate energy and will get it and transfer it to others. If a painting is made out of love, the love is transmuted into the painting. So anyone who interacts with the painting will feel the love that is already there, 33 variable. So that's why art is super important. How we do it, the kind of songs we create, the kind of images we create, the kind of models or even crafts that we create is super important. 33 variable. I'm still going on with this magnetic fields, and I'm gonna see